know what I haven't done enough of on this channel? Power rankings. And you know what I don't talk enough about on this channel? The first law. So let's take that problem and let's take that problem. Let's put them together and see what happens. Hey, what's up, bookworms and First Law fans? Mike back again to talk about my favorite modern fantasy series. That is, of course, Joe Abercrombie's The First Law. Now, I want to let you guys know right off the bat that this video will not have any spoilers in it. So if you're looking for spoilers, you don't have to look too hard on the channel to find where I have done spoiler reviews for every single First Law book. I've actually done non-spoilers for A Little Hatred and The Blade itself, but I wanted to actually just kind of talk about this because these are the things I got to do while I wait for the next First Law book to come out. And I have people constantly telling me, you know, how would you rank these? You know, what would you rank these and how would you think about this and whatever. So I thought, hey, why not just take a brief second just to talk about each and why. And it kind of gives a non-spoiler chance to talk about some of these books since I never did non-spoiler reviews for a lot of them. So let's go ahead and start off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 First Law books here. So of course, number 8, if you watch that review, you will not be surprised to find that Red Country is my least favorite First Law book. Now, however, the worst First Law book is better than most series' best books. What I think this one did wrong for me that didn't really click is that while I appreciated Joe trying to make it like a Western more than a fantasy, and you know, and having some returning characters and things like that, I just didn't feel like they landed. And you have maybe my least favorite POV character he's ever written in Shy South. Just a character that I just like could not stand. Had no investment in her whatsoever, and that's so rare for Joe because he writes such great characters that I usually end up loving all of them. And this was like the first case where a major point of view character just did not land for me. And personally, I hope it's one that I do not see him revisit in the future or whatever. But yeah, they did some things right. I didn't really care for the dragon people. I didn't really care for one of my returning characters from one of my earlier books that I loved quite a bit. And I felt like he just completely pissed him away. And yeah, if you read it someday or if you go back and watch those reviews, you'll understand exactly who and what I'm talking about. Next up, number 7, we've got Sharp Ends. Now, this is just a short story collection of things that range all the way through the timeline. It jumps through about 40 years of history, and it can kind of be helpful in bridging the gap a little bit between the first trilogy and the sequel trilogy that's going on right now, but not really. There's one really great story in here with Logan in it that takes place before the original trilogy, and it's really good. But other than that, it has some good stuff in it. You know, you get to see Galacta before, you know, his issues and things like that, you know, in his prime and stuff like that. It has some good stuff or whatever, but, you know, you got short stories. They're not really going to be able to compare with some of these, you know, novels, at least not for me. So, yeah, I did enjoy it more. Javra and, God, I can't remember the other girl's name, but it basically has, if there's a main character that ties these series all together, it's them. And, it's decent, but yeah, really besides Red Country, I'm not gonna pick it before I pick any of these books ever again. Where are we at now? Number 6. Number 6, and this one might be quite controversial because I know this is a lot of people's favorite in the series, and that is The Heroes. Now, the whole thing with this book is, again, guys, this is like my favorite fantasy series that's being written right now. So something's got to take this spot, right? And this just tells how good a series this is if this is my 6th favorite book, because this is a fantastic book. I did have my problems with the pacing. It was the first Joe Abercrombie book that I wasn't like into immediately. The first half of this book was very slow, and to many points where it was just like sitting around campfires and waiting. And I understand, you know, talking to people who have served in the military and stuff, say, you know, a lot of stuff in war is just sitting around and waiting. And I'm like, I get that. I don't want to read about it though. And I felt like that damaged my opinion on a lot. But Gorst is in this book, and he's just great. He is really good. I really learned to appreciate Fenry and some of the other returning characters from the original trilogy. I don't want to mention them because I don't want you guys to know if they live or not from that first trilogy. But yeah, there are some returning characters. That one very, very big one that I think you'll be very interested to see what they are up to at this time. But yeah, I had a good time with it. It kind of started the beginning of the passing the torch to the next generation of players that are in the sequel trilogy now. And yeah, I'll just leave it at that. The second half of this book, unbeatable. It's spectacular. It's typical vintage Joe at that point. Number 5. This will probably go up eventually. I love this. Do not misunderstand me, but it is part 1 of a trilogy in that I don't really know. You know, there's a lot of stuff where you can go back and you look at it and be like, that book was okay. And then you read like 2 and 3 and you're like, wow, that actually makes book 1 better. There's nothing wrong with this book. It's just kind of an incomplete right now for it to cut into the top 4 for me here. This was a very good setup. Very, very, very good. Very, very good. And it was, the part that I loved about it is something that I said about the new Star Wars movies, is that all I liked about them was the classic characters, and I felt nothing for the new characters. This doesn't do that. The returning characters, obviously you're happy to see them, you know, even much older. It's such good times. But I liked that the new characters were so enjoyable. It was like meeting friends that you went to high school with again and meeting their kids. That's kind of what this felt like, and it was very, very good. And I have zero doubt whatsoever that Joe's going to stick the landing. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm saying why I couldn't put it above the ones that are in my top 4 is simply because it's an incomplete right now. So don't take that as this is a disappointing book. Not at all. This is worth the wait in every way imaginable, and I can't wait for the next one in September. Number 4. Imagine if Joe Abercrombie wrote The Count of Monte Cristo. And that's what you get with Best Served Cold. I felt like this was the best ragtag group that he's put together, maybe even more than the Blade itself. I love, or I think it's more before they were hanged. It was more when you had like your traveling posse. The group that Mansa puts together in this book is so fun. It's almost Princess Bride in a way. And I know I bring that up a lot with some people where they're like, why do you always bring up Princess Bride when it's nothing like Princess Bride? To me, Princess Bride is just that swashbuckling sense of adventure and fun. And then there is this one really amazing sword duel in the middle act that's just on that level. Where you think about a Wesley and Inigo having that sword fight and their discussion and their banter while that's going on. Maybe my favorite action scene that Joe has ever written. Really, really good times. But it is as brutal as you've come to expect Joe to be, because it has parts where it's just like, Jesus Christ, did you just do that, Joe? So yeah, it'll get you in many, many spots. But there is a character from the original trilogy that starts like his arc in this. Yeah, starts an arc in the standalones with this. And he gets better each one of these books that he shows up in. Whereas I had my problems with it at first. And you can watch that review, like I said, if you want to know the particulars there. But such a great time, and it is where it cemented a secondary character from the original trilogy as my favorite character not named Sandan Galacta in this series. That's how much I love that character, and this is the reason why. So this one stands up every bit with the original trilogy, as in terms of quality, in terms of character, and in terms of writing and big moments. Just so much fun. Such a good time. And this is one that I feel like you could do this on its own without ever reading the original trilogy and understand it and have a good time with it. It's just a good revenge tale. Count of Monte Cristo. You'll love it. You will love it. Number 3. This might be surprising to people. The Blade itself. The very first Joe Abercrombie book. And I think the way that I feel the way that I do is what I kind of talked about when I did my my sales pitch for those who were still undecided on reading this. And it is that it feels like when you read it by itself that not a ton happened. Because I've said time and time again, much like Lord of the Rings, these 3 books are one story, and they are just divided into 3 volumes. And so when you take this one as a standalone, you can be like, well, I like this and I like this, but we didn't really go anywhere. We just kind of stayed in one place the whole time. So if you need some adventure and traveling in your fantasy, you might not rank it as highly as other people do. However, this is an incredible book. I had to put something at number 3 out of the original trilogy. You knew that those were going to be 1, 2, and 3 for me, so I don't think that's really shocking. But I think people might be surprised at this. This was the most incredible book one of a new fantasy series I had ever read when I read it. So it feels weird to say that now. But the good thing about this trilogy, as I'm going to reveal with number two, is that they get better as they go along. And before they are hanged, I felt like it fixed all my problems. It where the problems I have with the first one, like I said, they didn't go anywhere. They didn't really leave Adua. With this one, you got your bands all over the place traveling. You got your Northland, you got your South, you got your West, and it's got all the good elements of a good fantasy story. You got your fellowship basically. You've got your action, you've got your war, you've got your character development, you've got your where your POV characters are really interacting with each other for the first time in a way where like you'll read a POV and it's that character, and then the next chapter will be the other person that's with them, and it's just completely seeing how they see each other differently. And that's what I think that this is the book where people that are like, I mean, I liked Blade itself okay, but I wasn't really clicking with the characters. This is the book where you fall in love with those characters. At least I did. And I feel like most everyone I've talked to that didn't just love these right off the bat, by the time they got to Before They Were Hanged, I think that's when they said, oh, holy crap, I think I like blank, blank, and blank, and I didn't realize it. That's how this series works for you. And of course, number one, I don't think it's a surprise to anybody. I've talked up The Last Argument of Kings numerous times. A lot of times, the third book in a trilogy is kind of, we don't really stick the landing. The ending of this kicked my ass so hard, it's I still think about it. And it's the whole reason I didn't read the standalones when they first came out, because I found out that a particular character wasn't going to get their comeuppance. And the reveals in this book are otherworldly. I mean, they will absolutely stun you. If you're what I like to call, you didn't see that coming guy, I don't think you'll see these coming. I really don't. It's so well crafted, and in a reread, you will see stuff and be like, holy hell, I never saw that. And it's just, it's well crafted is the best way I can put it. And there's a twist in this book in the very first act that just completely turns the whole series on its head in a way that you weren't expecting. And God, it's just so good. It's just so good. You hear all these things about Logan, the entire trilogy, and then when you see one of these moments actually happen, it's like, wow, okay. So it's just got so much build up in those first two books, and it has just landed perfectly and then hit with an ending that completely knocks your socks off. And that's what I can say about this series or whatever. Now, you guys know this is my favorite modern fantasy series. Yes, over Sanderson, over anything right now. I don't feel like anything has scratched that itch that George left me with from Song of Ice and Fire forever ago when he decided he was going to stop writing them. So I discovered this series after I was just frustrated and waiting for another Song of Ice and Fire book, and it surpassed those for me. And I'm not one of those people who goes on YouTube and just talks about how much they hate Song of Ice and Fire. It's still one of my favorite fantasy series ever. And I'm talking about the books, not the TV show. So put that into consideration. So that tells you how highly regarded I take this series. And I think if you guys haven't read it by now, I really don't know why you're watching my channel, because I can't say enough about these things. And this, to me, has been the measuring stick for the grimdark subgenre, to where now anytime I read anything else that has the grimdark label on it, I just kind of look at it with like a raised eyebrow. I kind of got my arms crossed at first, and I go into it and I'll be like, no, this isn't. If this is the standard for grimdark, I don't think that anything I've read with that label since compares. Because just making your characters really shitty, that doesn't make it grimdark to me. They're really shitty and they kill people. Okay, that's not exactly what it is. Joe makes you care about particular characters in a way that you don't understand why you're rooting for these people. So that's about as much of a sales job as I can do for it. I mean, I've done my why you should read on it. I've done my spoiler reviews for all these things. Guys, you can check out all the First Law content on the channel. If you haven't yet, I think that there'll be plenty for you if you've read the series. If you haven't read the series, I don't think I'll ever go back and do non-spoilers for them, just because I don't think I could. I mean, if I did a non-spoiler review for each one of these books, they'd each be about as long as I just did in this video. So consider this your non-spoiler First Law video. Yes, you should read this series. Yes, I don't care if you don't like grimdark fantasy. I think that you'll find something that you like in here, and you might understand what I love about it so much and what others love about it so much, to where this has the cult following that it does now. I feel like Joe Abercrombie should be a household name. I feel like there are fantasy writers, modern fantasy writers, that get way more credit than they deserve. That should be going to Joe Abercrombie. He is a master of his craft, and I wish that more people knew about him. Again, he's writing book number 9 and 10 in his fantasy series right now, so I don't feel like he's struggling to put food on the table. I'm just saying I feel like he should be much more respected and known by casual fantasy readers than he is. So that's it, guys. If you didn't know by now, I love the First Law, and that is how I rank them. How do you rank them? Hit in the comments below. The first question I always get is, can I read the standalones if I haven't read the first trilogy? You can. I don't know why you'd want to. Yes, they're called standalones for a reason, because you don't have to have read them. However, I do feel like those 3 standalones, you should read those in order, because they do have one character that does cross over all 3 of those, and it'll make a little more sense. But again, you can pick up any of those standalones and probably be fine. Just might not make as much sense to you. So yes, start with the original trilogy. Read the original trilogy. So that's it for me, guys. Hit me in the comments, and I will talk to you there.